Okay, so I'm going to show you how to make ridge runner street. And how this stitch came about was someone posted in Facebook a crochet stitch, and they wanted to be able to make a similar stitch with loom knitting. So I looked at it and I sat down and I made a stitch that was very similar. And I really like it. And so I've worked out an edge that works with it. I did a swatch. This is the swatch I did to see that the stitch worked. And I saw that I need a little bit extra on the edge, although this edge is fine. It's not as stretchy as the stitch. So I've changed the edge up a bit, and I'm going to do the stitch video for you and show you how to do this stitch. And it's just a stitch video, so I'm not going to show you everything, but I certainly will give you tips so that you can go ahead and make a project. You can use it in the round as well. It looks really good in the round. All that's different is it's just slightly different. This looks exactly the same. This part of it, it's just slightly different slant here, but very similar if you wanted to make a scarf and a hat or something, or a round cowl. They would all match up. The yarn I'm using is Premier Puzzle yarn, and it's 100% acrylic. It's a number 5 bulky. Just looking for the color of this one. It's gotta be somewhere on here. There it is. Tangram. The color is Tangram. So put it back in the bag and show you how to do the stitch. Okay, so how I cast it on, I just did a crochet chain type of cast on. It's on my YouTube channel. You can just look it up. It's a cast on I use a lot, and it just looks like this at the edge, so I like the look of it. And then the edge I'm doing here is an edge I developed. It doesn't really have a name, just a way of doing an edge. So I will show you how to do that. But you can do any edge you want, but you need a longer edge because it's a very long stitch. And it doesn't curl, at least it's not curling for me. And if you find that it curls at all, you could always add the slight pearl or something on your side, but even with just with no pearls at all and just an edge where I turned around, I'm not having any curl that would bother me at all. So there you go. Okay, so I'll show you how to do the stitch, and when I get to the end of the row, I'll show you how to do the edge that I'm doing, if that's the edge you want to do. Okay. Oh, the loom. You'll want to know what the loom is. I'm only doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I'm doing 12 pegs, and I usually mark the pegs, but I didn't because I have black and purple here. I'm going to remember, and I'm going to ending with white and purple. So I didn't, but I usually mark it because these two pegs are going to work together as an end stitch. So you can go ahead and mark them so you know that you have the two pegs at each end working as the stitch. You can use any number of stitches, even or odd, it won't matter. Okay, and this is 5/8 inch loom, so that's how it's a 12.75 inch. I had Cindy Wood Looms make it for me, so this isn't their ordinary an ordinary loom. I wanted one in this size with 60 pegs. That's a 5/8 inch gauge. Okay, so it's 2 rows. So when you're doing it in the round, it's the same thing. You do 1 row, then you do the other row. You will have a bit of a jog if you do it in the round because you're going from one stitch to the other, and they're quite different stitches. So you just would keep it in the back. And a jog just means that's where you change stitches, you see a difference, so it looks different there. You can maybe figure out something so it wouldn't show, some way of wrapping so it wouldn't show so much, but you just simply keep it in the back. Okay, so we've done our end pegs, but you haven't seen that, but I will show you, and I'll show you the first stitch and that I used in it. I don't have a name for this particular stitch, it's just a bunch of wrapping. So it's the combination of the two that I named the stitch. So you just do a U-wrap over the peg, knit it off 1 time, come back around over the peg and do the U-wrap and knit it off 2 times, come back around, knit it 3 times, and come back around and knit it 4 times, and that's all you do. So very easy. Go to the next peg, knit it once, knit it twice, knit it 3 times, and knit it 4 times. So you just keep, go to the next peg, knit it again, come back around, U-wrapping again, and 4 times. So that's all you do when you go this direction, is you wrap each peg 4 times. So as I said, very easy stitch. And the next peg. And you can see it's actually very fast, and the stitch goes very fast. Your work will go really fast because that's 4 stitches. So as I pull it down, you can see I've already done a lot there. From here to here, I just knitted about 1.5 inches or maybe longer. So it really comes along fast. So we'll just finish this row, going around, U-wrapping. And if you need to look at the stitch more, just slow down the video. There's a gear right bottom hand. You see a little gear shape. If you click on it, you'll be able to slow it down. Okay, so here's my last 2. And then when I come to the last 2 pegs, so this is how I'm doing it to get the edge that I'm doing, and as you can see, this edge is working with the stitch, and it kind of blends in with it. Really nice. Anyway, you go over the 2 pegs, and you keep it loose, and you just knit it over. Then you come back, knit over the 2 pegs, and knit it over. Now we want to lengthen this edge so it'll go with this stitch, so I'm going to come back and go over the 2 pegs 1 more time on this return trip. And that's all there is to doing this edge. And as you can see, it just kind of looks like this as it comes down a little closer. Just blends right in with the stitch. Now on the return, we do the other row, and the other row is my owl eye stitch. So to do that, you've got your 2 end pegs, you wrap over in a U-wrap, and then you come back around and wrap over it and the next one nice and loose, knit it over, come back around at always at peg 1, so come back around peg 1, knit over 1 and 2 like this, keeping it loose, and you can always loosen it like that, and knit it over. You're on peg 1, wrap peg 1 and 2, knit them over. You're on peg 1, knit peg 1 and 2, knit them over. You're on peg 1, knit 1 and 2, knit over. So very easy. It's just doing these 2 rows. Very easy stitches. Now when you're on the last one, you need to do 1 more wrap on it, like that, and then you wrap the 2, keeping it loose, knit it over, come back, wrap the 2, knit over, come back around the second time so that you get a longer edge stitch, and wrap it over. Then you're back to going 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I see my camera is got this loom being a little too low. I'm just going to put you on pause and adjust that. Okay, there we go. So when we're going this way, it's just 1, 2, 3, 4. So all you're doing is you're doing a U-wrap and knitting it off. Then you're wrapping from the back around to the front of the peg and doing another one, and 3 and 4. So I'm just going to go to the end of the row and then we'll catch up again. Okay, I got to the end of the row. So I'm just going to wrap over these 2 pegs. And then come back and, keeping it loose, wrap them this way. Then come back around and over and wrap them again. And then owl eye. So you wrap over this peg, rewrap it and go over the next peg. Rewrap this peg and go over the next peg. One peg 1 over peg 1 and 2. And that's all there is to it. You just keep repeating it till you get it long enough. I'm just going to stop here for a minute, so wherever I stop, I know that I'm there, and we just pull it down and you'll see how much longer it was just doing those couple rows. This goes together really, really fast. And here's what your stitch looks like. And the other side looks like this. So it looks nice too. But there you go. There's a really easy stitch, and it's good for beginners. It's good for anyone, and it will give you this look, which is quite a different look. So I hope you enjoyed the stitch. And until next time, we will see you.